Hello, everybody. This will be the last chapter for AP2, and it's uh, it's not very long, but we'll go over the last part, which is the developmental and genetics and all that stuff. Okay, so some of the reviews first. Okay, so fertilization happens because of sperm, which is a haploid. Remember, we talked about it last time. It is got 23 chromosomes. Will combine with the haploid of the mother, which is then we'll have 50% from your dad, 50% from your mom, and then that's how you know your the fertilization occur, and then development will start. Will start. So a haploid and a haploid combined will form a zygote. Zygote. Okay. So pregnancy is divided into 3 trimesters, and each one's about 3 months long. Fertilization. Okay, fertilization. Once the oocyte is ovulated and it enters the uterine tube, okay, and then the sperm will be there, providing each ejaculation. There are hundreds of millions of sperm in the vagina. Again, it is very acidic, and a lot of them will die instantly. But at the same time, the sperm, the semen will provide prostaglandin, help stimulate the movement, and then the uterine contraction will also move it forward. Fructose for energy, remember they has lots of mitochondria. PSA, which is the prostatic specific antigen, it helps thins the ejaculation so it will start swimming. And then capacitation must occur, which allows lysosome and all that to break down the walls of the egg for fertilization to occur. Now, breakdown, we're going to look through here. I think we saw that there's a couple of layers, the corona and the zona pellucida, that it must break through. So usually fertilization occur in the ampulla, and the oocyte only survive after ovulation only about 1 day, 12 to 24 hours, 1 day. But sperm can survive a 72 to 120 hours. Now the reason is because the sperm needs time to get there. It takes about 72 hours to reach the ampulla, where the oocyte usually stays. So here we are. The oocyte is protected by 2 layers. Okay, first one is the corona radiata. Okay, and then the zona pellucida. Okay, once the sperm contacts the, it will cause capacitation. Okay, which you guys remember is there's lysosome and all that to break it down, and then once the sperm binds to the zona pellucida, it will have something called the acrosomal reaction. Okay, acrosomal reaction. As you can see here, okay, got to get through. That's where the oocyte is. Okay, zona radiata, zona pellucida. Okay, and then the acrosomal reaction right there. That's when the nuclei can enter the oocyte, and then it will complete the meiosis for further development. Embryonic development. The prenatal period usually lasts 38 weeks, okay, 40 weeks, okay, from the last menstrual cycle. Pregnancy, presence of development of embryo in the fetus and uterus. Prenatal period. So this is very important, okay? Prenatal period can be divided into pre-embryonic stage. The first 2 weeks is pre-embryonic stage. We're going to look at some slides. Embryonic stage starts week 3 to week 8. Okay. These stages are characterized by cell divisions, and then a fetal stage will start week 9 to 38. So a lot of people argue that an embryo is not live, but an embryonic stage or pre-embryonic stage will start developing and then very early on you start having a heartbeat and things like that. But anyway, in this class, we'll be classifying an embryo between 3 to 8 weeks, and then a fetus will start week 9. So once the zygote is formed, you guys remember the zygote is when the haploid and the haploid combine. Once the zygote is formed and its membrane, it is now called a conceptus. Okay. It will then move toward the uterus via contractile endothelia. Remember, there's cilia inside. Secretion from the epithelial cell will nourish the cell. Immediately, there are 2 cells and 4 cells. Rapid cell division. Progress into something called a blastomere. Okay. So here we have, again, rapid cell division. 2 become 4, 4 become 8. Now, once it becomes 16 cells, okay, there's a term for that, okay, called a morula. Okay, morula, 16 cells. And then it will develop further into blastocyte. And here is also very important. The trophoblast will become the placenta. Okay, we'll look into that later. Let's see. So again, after 3 days, it will have 16 cells or so, and this is called a morula. Okay, a morula. It will continue to divide, and when it reaches about 100 cells, it will secrete a fluid around. It's called a blastocyte, okay, which is right here, okay? This is an inner cell and an outer cell, which become the embryo on the inside, and the outer cells will become the trophoblast, which then will become the chorionic sac and the fetal portion of the placenta. So here's the inner side, the inner cells, and the outer cells. Okay. Trophoblast. This is also very important. Trophoblast will secrete an enzyme to degrade the zona pellucida and prepare for implantation. Now the trophoblast will also secrete something called the HCG. Let me see if it's here. Oh yes, here it is. Right here. Trophoblast will secrete HCG. It's called human chorionic hormones. Okay, this is when you test for pregnancy. Of course, in the beginning, when the HCG is first secreted, it is not a lot. Okay, so as it will accumulate, and then it will start accumulating in your blood, and then it will start, when there's too much, you will start excreting it in your urine. That's when you can test it in the home test kit, usually several days after implantation. Okay, so it takes 7 days before implantation starts. It will complete during the 2nd week. Blastocyte adhere to the endometrium and burrow. So here's the ampulla. It's going to go in there and it's going to burrow itself inside the uterine wall. Okay, it will burrow inside using enzyme. Okay, trophoblast will secrete HCG. HCG is another hormone that will keep the embryo alive, keep it surviving. Okay, because it needs to produce progesterone. Okay, so HCG is necessary for that. So here's that implantation. Where you implant is very important. But in 1 to 2%, there's implantation outside of the uterus. It's called ectopic pregnancy. Also, the region is important. You want it on the side of the wall. You don't want it here. Okay, so this is called placenta previa. Okay, so again, it is burrow there. Okay, and it will start developing there. So I had my wife had an ectopic pregnancy. Almost cost her life because it happened outside in the ampulla. One more thing to say about this: the HCG causes the what's that called? The HCG causes the corpus lucidum, okay, corpus lucidum, to continue to produce progesterone to maintain the pregnancy. What else do we need to say? Oh, here it is. Trophoblasts secrete the HCG, maintain the corpus luteum, and prevent immune rejection. The corpus luteum secrete estrogen, progesterone, and relaxin. This will remain until placenta is formed. Estrogen and progesterone stimulate the maintenance of the uterine lining, inhibit FSH, LH, inhibit uterine contraction, enlarge the reproductive organ. Do you remember when there's a big surge of LH, and then there is ovulation, so no more ovulation? Relaxin is slowly secreted, inhibit uterine contraction, and relaxes the pelvis ligament to prepare for birth, so that you'll be more flexible. Your hips will be more, you can stretch. So this is after a couple weeks, 2 weeks or so of implantation. We can see the trophoblast layer on the outside. Okay, again, this will become part of the placenta. Okay, and then a cavity will start forming right here, called the amnion. Okay, amnion, and it will start filling with amniotic fluid. It will surround the embryo. It will protect the fetus from trauma and what's that called? Temperature changes. Okay. Cell of the hypoblast forms the yolk sac. Here is the hypoblast. It forms the yolk sac. It will give rise to blood cells, sac cells. Will form part of the digestive tract and umbilicus. And in about the 3rd weeks, you have something called the allantois is formed. It's a finger-like projection. I don't know if there's any pictures for it. A finger-like projection. It's your primitive excretory duct, and then it forms part of the umbilical cord as well. Now, at the end of the 2nd week, 2-layer disc becomes 3-layer disc. Okay, so this is very important as well. So 2-layer disc will now become 3-layer disc. Okay, something called a gastrulation. Gastrulation. Okay, this is where I transition from totipotent to multipotent. I hope you guys remember what totipotent and multipotent is. Okay. Then later on, the 2 layers will form something called a primitive streak. Okay, you guys remember this? This will eventually fold and becomes your spinal cord and everything when we did the cell development. Okay,